let's just go around. I see couple common faces or faces I recognize, but I'm John Gage. I'm the state coordinator of Citizens Climate Lobby for New Hampshire, the temporary liaison for Representative Pappas, and co-chapter leader with Catherine. I'm in Windham, New Hampshire, and I still kind of maintain my laser focus on creating the political will for Carbon Fee and Dividend, and I do all of the other CCL stuff as ways to kind of make that happen. So, thank you. Popcorn to Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I am from New Hampshire also and go to Bowdoin College and started a CCL club there a few years ago. And then we became a CFD movement club because that was, I don't know, the CFD movement was like more, or well, we mostly just wanted the name recognition for CFD and we were doing mostly CFD movement activities. So yeah, thank you all for coming.
Want popcorn?
Sorry, my computer keeps trying to update. Popcorn, Steve.
Hello. So I'm the group leader for CCL chapter in Lynchburg, Virginia. We got to meet the students at William and Mary this past year at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Conference, and I was just impressed with what they have done. I'm also, like you said, John, really wanting to work more on carbon fee and dividend, and I just want to see what's going on with it. We also have a few higher education institutions here, and so if they're, we don't have really very good contacts with them, but you know, if this is a way to do that, if we have a contact, I want to be aware of it. And going on to Noah.
Hello, yeah, my name is Noah Howie. I'm from the Lexington, Kentucky chapter. I'm here on behalf of our group leader, Elizabeth Jackson, who couldn't make it tonight, so I'm here in her stead.
Would you like the
All right,
popcorn?
I'll send the popcorn to Sam Cutchins.
Oh, my name is Sam Kitchens. I'm a member of I'm obviously a member of CCL, but also a resident of Florida, northwestern Florida. And well, I just joined this meeting just to see what it was like. That's all.
Great, thanks for joining.
I will popcorn it to Leslie.
I am Leslie Sand. I live in the northeast corner of Iowa. I started the chapter here almost 5 years ago, Lutheran Action Team also, and I'm also state coordinator. And I have spoken on, well, last year we spoke on several campuses. We have a four-year liberal arts college right here in town, Luther College. We have a student there who is a sophomore this year. He has taken his climate advocate. He's taking or has finished, I'm not sure, taken the climate advocacy certificate program. I have another student that's interested in an internship. She lives in, well, she goes to school in University of Iowa. So that's about 2 hours from us, but there's an active chapter down there. And then I have a retiree who's a brand new member who's interested in engaging with young people. And so I told all of them tonight, I just found out about the meeting this afternoon, so nobody has to make it, but they did ask if it was going to be recorded. So I'm excited. And we have talked to, in fact, one student I just heard from another student that they got referred to CCL at Iowa State in Ames. So that's another campus. So it's kind of moving, and I just think the CFD movement is just a great idea. And yeah, I'm not sure how, you know, obviously you can do you can do you can do the CFD movement by itself, or you can do CCL by itself, but they meld so well together. And yeah.
Great. Thank you, Leslie. Let's see, have we
Keith.
Yeah, so Keith McNeil, I'm in Clearwater, British Columbia, Canada. I've been a member of CCL Canada since 2014. Catherine McKenna, the Minister of Environment at the time, said CCL Canada played a big role in Canada adopting its carbon tax with rebates, which is very similar to carbon fee and dividend. I'm a big believer in carbon fee and dividend. I've seen people call it the best of all possible options. I think it's the only one that's going to work. And I'm really happy to see you guys focusing on CF&D. Yeah.
I think this has enormous potential. It's a lightweight project that you can put into an environment club in a high school. It's something that a bunch of college students can just do without a club, or as Catherine did, register at a real club to do this, so they get a budget and they have official resources. It's it's just carbon fee and dividend. At some point we'll have a meeting about that when there's new people that are trying to figure out what this big thing is that everybody in CCL is all excited about and the national media is talking about. But there's a lot of resources on that, the Economist statement and other things. So I want to share what I've been doing for the last year, connecting with my local high school, my alma mater, Dartmouth College, which is just up the road. I also teach a class at MIT to high school students that come from all around, and it's help solve climate change. I go through the science and the economics, and I do an En-ROADS demo. Then I show a carbon pricing explained with chicken video, and then I start talking about how do you price carbon, and we get to carbon fee and dividend. And then I introduce the carbon fee and dividend movement, and there's great excitement that there's something that they can do with posters and stickers at their high schools. But so my vision is 2 years from now, when we have the 2026 elections, and hopefully there will be another swing, because there's always a swing when there's the trifecta control. We need to have not just talking about climate. We need people talking about carbon fee and dividend, like in national media, and we can have a big event on campuses across the country, with economists, students that are concerned, and people in campuses all across the country making a big deal about a solution that they demand, not just action. They asked Biden for action, and we didn't get the action that we needed. So we need to ask explicitly what we want. Okay, so how do we do this sub-team? Well, I think the best person to explain the vision of carbon fee and dividend movement is Emily O'Keefe, the founder, from William and Mary. So I'm just going to play the 4-minute or so segment of her speaking at the June 2023 conference, when she introduced the CFD movement to CCL. And it was the most inspiring thing I saw at that conference, and I was really excited to see what I could do to help. Okay, so I will share my screen. That's this one. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Tell us a little bit about the impact you've had. What was the moment that you noticed you were making a difference? And tell us more about your movement.
Yeah, so gosh, I feel so strongly about this. So last semester at William and Mary, the Citizens Climate Lobby chapter started a collective action movement for carbon fee and dividend. And the idea behind the movement is for students to have a sign on them. And I have like a little sign here, and it just says most effective climate policy, hashtag carbon fee and dividend. And then there's a link to an already formatted letter to Congress. And this actually directs to CCL's page to write Congress. And so the vision for the movement was for students to see signs and be like, oh, what's that? And then maybe they learn about it and then make signs. And then more and more people are writing Congress, and there's this snowball effect. And so the vision was for students across America to start all showing support for a carbon fee and dividend. And I have some photos. So this was the first day of the movement at William and Mary. This is like me at a dining hall table with a sign for a carbon fee and dividend, thinking like, yeah, let's start a collective action movement. And this is maybe like a week or so into the movement, you know, more people at William and Mary are showing support, all having signs. And I even kind of what people do a lot of the time is put them on their laptops. They'll just like tape them, and there will be students at William and Mary with laptops and signs on them, which is so cool. And it's just like a constant advertisement for the carbon fee and dividend. And then this is kind of where, and this is the kind of advocacy that we do. So we do like flyers, passing out stickers. There's flyers everywhere on William and Mary's campus about carbon fee and dividend. We write on blackboards, whiteboards, tons of presentations, and we do giant chalk murals. And so it has been really cool. And this is kind of where the movement is getting. It's growing, and it's so exciting. Yeah. And at the end of the semester, we had a huge gathering, or like a very, I think it's huge. I love it. And so it's just, we will continue to do this, and we're working with other climate activists and other colleges to help spread this. And so we're really excited. Yeah, and if you're interested in following along with the movement, we have an Instagram, which is just Carbon Fee and Dividend, and we also have a website, which is cfdmovement.com. But this has by far been I feel like the most impactful thing I've done, maybe like in my life. And I think the moment I knew that I was having an impact was, you know, I'll like walk around campus with stickers, just like carbon fee and dividend stickers, and I'll go up to a random person and I'll be like, do you want a carbon fee and dividend sticker? And they'll be like, I've been looking for these. It's like almost everyone at William and Mary knows and supports the carbon fee and dividend, which is mind blowing. So
maybe the most impactful thing I've ever done. That just gets me. I think that's so inspiring. To spread the word about carbon fee and dividend. All of us in CCL have tried in various ways and been trained in various ways to do this. But this seems like a model that is easy to cookie cut in many, many colleges across the country. So Catherine, maybe you can talk about, you know, how you started CFD Movement at Bowdoin, and kind of the things that you found that worked. And then we'll get what I want to do with the second half of the meeting is talk about actions that we can take right now. And we'll actually do an exercise of identifying a school or a club or a student. And I've got some template emails that you can use or modify as you wish, and then make the first initial contact. So, you know, what we'll be doing is making a contact to set up a meeting or maybe set up an event, and then bring our show. We have a template of a slide presentation, including an En-ROADS workshop. The whole thing lasts 30 or 45 minutes. And hopefully the end result is inspiring a student or a club leaders to do this. But Catherine, before we get into that, why don't you just tell us about what it's like as a student to do CFD Movement?
Oh, thanks. And yes, Leslie, that's awesome. We actually talked to the student. Wait, sorry, Doug, can you turn down your volume? I like have an echo. Thanks. We talked to the student who you found and they joined CFD Movement, and yeah, so that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. He told me that he had talked to someone from CFD, but I didn't know who it was. So that's awesome, Catherine. I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think it was me and Ellie, who is my co-leader at Bowdoin. So yeah, at Bowdoin we were a CCL chapter, so we kind of already had like a group ready to go, and we started out putting up flyers. We try to do about 100 every semester. And Bowdoin's kind of small. It's like a little under 2,000 students. So the flyers don't like I don't really see anyone going around and like writing Congress, like scanning the QR code on them and writing to Congress just based on the flyers. But they definitely do like put the idea in the back of people's minds. So then later when we go to talk to them about CFD, they kind of like already know about it, or they'll like mention having seen the flyers. So I think that they are important to have, but they might not do a whole lot on their own. And then we also just started tabling in the student union, and we would just ask people to send the email to Congress, take a sticker, and maybe like make a sign or hold a sign that we'd made, and we'd take a picture of them. And then we also started an Instagram account for Bowdoin CFD specifically, and we tried to get as many Bowdoin students to follow the account by just following them all, like going through like Bowdoin class of 2025, whatever, like following all the accounts. And then we just post pictures of like Bowdoin students holding CFD signs. And I think that's also helped. I'd never had Instagram until like we started doing this, so I didn't really know what was going on, but it definitely made a big difference. Just people are seeing like their friends holding the CFD signs. So it's like makes it more of a normalized thing to be happening at school. And then we also did some events, like we just hosted like a climate fire night talk thing. And we had someone come in, like a main CCL volunteer come in and do an En-ROADS demo in one of the classes, like on environmental science. And then we talked about the CFD movement after. And like the presentations were definitely very effective in getting people involved. But yeah, combination of all those things is working pretty well.
Thank you, Catherine. Great. Okay. So, Catherine and I kind of wrote up some email templates. And so basically, what I have been doing is trying to figure out how to get students engaged. And so when I went Nordic skiing today, in my back pocket was a pile of stickers: most effective climate policy, hashtag carbon fee and dividend, bit.ly/right Congress here, stickers. And it's this. And on the back of the sticker it says join us, and it has a QR code that goes to the CFD movement website. And so I had maybe 10 different conversations while I was skiing with people. I kind of see them, ask it, in the parking lot getting ready to ski after skiing, when people are just kind of hanging out and being social. I'll say, are you concerned about climate change? And Nordic skiers are generally concerned about it. Do you know about the most effective climate policy? No, carbon fee and dividend. Well, hey, I'm trying to help spread this to other schools. Would you like a sticker that you can share with student that might be interested in helping creating the political will to enable Congress to pass a bipartisan, powerful, equitable climate solution that it takes about half of the emissions out of the global economy, if we can get Congress to do it and push it around the world through trade tools. And it doesn't take too long to have a conversation, and somebody's happy to have a sticker. But those people you don't seem to get joins, but somebody is probably gonna use that sticker and hopefully write Congress, but maybe not. Maybe just the stickers out there. So a higher engagement, you need to develop a relationship and kind of help them follow through. So let me share the web page that has email templates, and then I'll talk through the 4 versions of the templates that we have. Okay, so Leslie, I see your alma maters in there. That's terrific. Okay, so this is how to initiate engagement through an email template file. So the 4 scenarios that we provided samples for is ask a middle school or high school environmental club to host you for a meeting or presentation. So I did this in my own town's high school. I just looked online to see what kind of clubs the high school had. I didn't see the environmental club, but I did see a marine biology club. And so I thought, well, I'll offer to show chasing coral and then have a little talk about carbon fee and dividend after and hand out some stickers and say you can do this project. But that club had canceled and they redirected me to the environmental club teacher advisor. So I mailed a message to her offering a short En-ROADS demo and to talk about climate solutions and things that students could do. And we set up a meeting, and I did meet with the advisor and 2 students. So that's one way of getting a school started. So there's contacting a local high school or college. So the second template is asking a college environmental club to host you for a meeting and presentation. So it's basically the same ask, but with a different frame. Then a third one is how to ask a local high school community service director to include the CFD movement in the list of suggested volunteering options. And this is something that you would do. It would be more than just getting it started because they need somebody local who can work them through the whole their hours of engagement. So although they would be doing CFD movement, they would also be working with you as a CCL volunteer to guide them through their community service hours, which are very flexible. They do everything from sorting books at libraries to, planting something in the town garden. And so, they can make posters and hang them up in their school. They can maybe plan an event, a movie showing, or an En-ROADS presentation where a CCL volunteer doesn't necessarily have to be an En-ROADS ambassador to do the En-ROADS show that I think is the best use of people's time with En-ROADS. In 5 or 10 minutes, you can describe the En-ROADS tool. You can show how one policy has an effect on global primary sources of energy, emissions through 2100, and the final temperature, and say, and of all these policies, carbon pricing is the most powerful. And you can either type in or go to a pre-configured scenario of the carbon fee and dividend price extended through 2100. So it's basically rising about $10 per ton from now till the end of the century. And you say, this is the carbon fee and dividend price extended through the rest of the century, pushed around the world with a border adjustment, which is what the EU is starting in 2026. And so we can get this carbon price, and it reduces the end temperature from the current 3.3 degrees Celsius of warming down 0.9 degrees to 2.4 degrees Celsius, according to the En-ROADS climate policy and science modeling. 0.9 degrees is halfway to 1.5 degrees from 3.3. So you can go from 3.3 to 2.4 with carbon fee and dividend pushed around the world, extended through this century. And then you can get the other half, because once there's a price on pollution, it makes all of the other things that we need to do much easier to do. This is the first big step, and the IPCC says we'll fail to address climate change if we don't include carbon pricing in the mix. So anyway, this is something that gets generally, I'm sure you have experienced it, people excited that there is this wonderful policy. And a quick En-ROADS demo can just show that very quickly. And then I I know which other sliders are complementary to get to 1.5. So I say, and then we need nature-based solutions. We need to reduce methane pollution. We need to grow more trees and stop burning them down. And so with the best academic information and understanding we have about the process, the hope is that it's still policy with making major policy changes now, starting with carbon pricing. We can hold warming to a safe level. So, you know, and then you hand out the economist statement and a poster, samples of posters from the CFD Movement website, some stickers, and you say, you know, I'm happy to help you answer any questions you have, but there's a lot of resources right at the CFD Movement website, and you know, your club can put up posters and start having events. And the really big thing is getting students to take effective action by writing Congress and saying what we want. So it's not just the little project at one school that matters, though. The CFD Movement has a Slack with different channels where they communicate. So there's a monthly meeting that Catherine and Ellie run for volunteers that are getting their school started. So they, you know, from different schools, they join, they share ideas. They have a community of the leaders, the campus champions at this, you know, at the different schools. And then there's, as Catherine said, Instagram. So there's a main Instagram account, which Catherine can explain into Instagram a lot better than I can, but I think there's a way for people to post and share it with the Instagram, the CFD Movement's Instagram account. So there's, what, 4,000 followers on that Instagram account now? So, and that's just, you know, we've had it was a growing period for CFD Movement to figure out where it fit within CCL and what Emily O'Keefe wanted to do. There was some, you know, we answered all the questions. We think the model that's in place from her original vision is really good to go with. And then we envision national attention grabbing things happening eventually. But we need to grow. And so CCL can help this grow quickly. And so that will be the idea. You'll be putting up posters, stickers, doing events, and then this is to create the media attention and national awareness of this policy. And it's, you know, when people know about it, they support it, and we need that to happen for this to be a viable political policy. Okay, any questions before we kind of think about, we can open it up to discussion about this action, I think. What school, you know, do you have one in mind that you'd like to reach out to? How do you think you might reach out? And you can take a look at the 4 email templates to see if that interests you. But this is all new to, you know, we've only sent a couple of these emails out. So we're looking for ideas more than, you know, telling you what to do at this point. This is a new thing. And I'm also, I believe, there's 2 adults on the advisory board for the CFD movement. So if anybody is fired up and really thinks this has potential and would like to lend a little help on the advisory team, let me know, and be really happy to have some more help. Yeah, so what kind of schools would you like to have in mind, or what do you have in mind, and how do you think you would approach the school?
Personally, I feel like a good route might not be the environmental group because they're already probably involved in things like that. Maybe you could contact like an interact club or some kind of like volunteering club or group because we know they're looking for hours to put in hours for something. And if there's even a couple kids passionate about that, then you know you're going to get dedicated time on it because they're trying to put volunteer hours in.
Oh, good feedback. I was thinking that an environmental club is looking for a couple projects to work on, and this could be one pretty low effort project, posters and signs, and maybe an event. But I haven't been in a school club for 40 years, 50 years. So thank you. It's good input. Thank you, Noah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We do have an email template for like asking a community service director to include CFD movement in like the suggested actions to get community service hours. So I think maybe that's sort of along the same lines. But a specific community service club would also be a really good idea.
It's just I'm speaking from personal experience because in high school we didn't have like an environmental club or anything, but I was involved in a lot of the volunteering clubs, and I just remember in high school I would have been very excited if they'd come up with something like this and been like, hey, you can get your required volunteer hours in while doing something you're actually passionate about. But that's a smaller school thing because I think most big schools do have an environmental club.
We have they call it silver cord for the high school kids to, get hours. And I had thought about, and I think I had contacted the faculty advisor there in the past, but nothing as specific as your email. So I love that. I'm going to use that email and send that to her. And the student one too. I've got several students I can send that out to. The other thing I'm thinking of is the three girls that are at the high school now here, came to DC with us last summer when they were rising seniors. Now they're seniors, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of them is coming to Bowdoin. I know I've talked to somebody recently that's coming to Bowdoin. So anyway, they would be ripe, this because it's such a hand out some stickers. And I was going to ask you, John, I think you gave me one of your stickers when we were in DC with the QR code on it. Are those the ones that you got off of the CFD movement website, or did you have those printed up yourself?
Emily had the ones that I have. She and I decided to print some in bulk because I was just buying 30 sheets of 8.5 by 11 printer sticker paper at Staples, and I have a template that prints 6 stickers on that. But by buying bulk, we got them for 14 cents per sticker.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I can send a stack to people for now if you want some stickers. You can get them. Is it Redbubble? There's a shop on the cfdmovement.org website, and you used to be able to order stickers from there. I haven't tried it myself. So we need to make sure that is actually working.
It's working.
It is working. Oh, great. Okay. So, but they're $2 or $3 a sticker, which is fine if you're, getting. I mean, it can be kind of an exclusive club pretty cool if you've got a, water bottle with a CFD movement sticker on it, and people are having trouble finding them. That it's worth $2 or $3 to people. I envision tens of thousands of stickers across America, and we can save money if we buy them in bulk for events. Yes, wonderful. Yes. So the stickers, as Emily mentioned, are, I use them as like a carrot. Hey, if you'll write Congress, I'll give you a climate solution sticker, and you can get more information about the solution at the back. And I just, honor system. Here's the sticker. Go write Congress. When you get a chance. But Emily in the video says, she'll be handing out stickers, and because students have seen posters for so long and they know other people have stickers, it becomes something that they then like are seeking. And I think she had a lot of experience and study about collective action movements, and how do you build buzz and put this policy into the group consciousness at a school. And I think if we do that in enough schools, we can get the media engaged with a good use of events and writing articles and things over time once it's grown. Okay. How about anybody else have an idea of what school you want to reach out to? We're gonna have a workshop. Give you
Yeah,
10
well,
or
I'll just
15 minutes.
ask, I would like to get some ideas. Like if I go to the local high school, what sort of approach should I use? Like where would I begin?
Okay, so what I did with my local high school was I just went online and I found their club list page. And the closest club that I could find that might be interested in a climate solution was a marine biology club. But they do have an environmental club, so I think I would have. So they had the list of the teacher advisors for each club online, and I found the teacher's email address, and I one of these emails I took from my original uh, mail that I sent to that teacher. The way it worked for me, she transferred me to another teacher who was, advising the environment club, and she and I went back and forth a couple times and set up a meeting with the two student leaders of that club, and the three of them and I met at the school for about 45 minutes, where I talked about the economist statement. I showed them a little En-ROADS. I gave them the Carbon Fee and Dividend laser talk page to say this is the basic policy, and I explained the benefits. I didn't the household impact study report, basically 2/3 of all families come out ahead. It's highly equitable, and it supports the high carbon price that economists say we need to reduce emissions as quickly as is necessary for a safe future. And then I had some CFD movement posters, and I said these are samples of what you can hang up where your school allows you to hang posters, and you can also make signs and put them on your laptop cover, so you can all be studying with your laptops open, and everybody that walks by, is curious, what is this thing? And so, it led to that meeting to get engaged in that club. Yes, Leslie.
Couple things. What I've done in the past, when you're talking about the economist statement, I've just used the front, because you don't want to print out the whole thing. So I just use the front page. Is that what you have done?
So I made a PDF myself, and so Catherine and I were just talking about this. I'm gonna extend the resources menu that's on the CFD Movement website, and we'll add a flyers and signs menu option that will give you PDFs for downloadable things of the classic signs. And then there will also be tabling materials, and it will be the table materials and handouts. And so we'll have the economist statement. I've got another 8.5 by 11 poster with 3 En-ROADS scenarios. The top one is business as usual. The middle one is this carbon fee and dividend carbon price, and it's showing 3.3, 2.4, 1.5. And the bottom one is the scenario with the complementary policies added. So yeah, there's, and we can work on this, collaborate, we pool our experiences and put our favorite tabling things about carbon fee and dividend, make it easy for people to just get them there. But yeah, CFD focused. It's all,
Yeah.
just,
And that was that you segued into my next question, was about how do you, I've never been able to give, I haven't done, it's been a while since I've looked at En-ROADS. I did some of the training a couple years back. I've never thought of being able to give a summary of it in 10 minutes. I would love to know how you do that.
yeah, sure. There's a recording of my Help Solve Climate Change class that when COVID happened, I was delivering it online, and not just through MIT. I was doing Learning U also, and a version of that recorded. So in 4 minutes, I go from the project drawdown. Here's all the technical solutions that we could use. Why aren't we using them? This is where economics comes in, the study of the economy and how producers and consumers interact and money flows, and it all comes down to policies. And so this En-ROADS lets us tweak policy sliders and see the impact on how energy sources change and pollution changes and the result changes. So you can get an ambassador training and learn how to spend an hour showing people En-ROADS, but people only need 4 minutes of En-ROADS to know that all they need to know about is that carbon pricing is kind of the fundamental thing they need to work on. That's the value of En-ROADS, I think.
Yeah.
I'll share the
Thank
link
you.
in the chat for that. And I just shared bit.ly/CFD resources. This is a Google Drive that has the economist statement, the En-ROADS poster that I was talking about before, and a couple other handy resources. I'll put this on, I'll put the good ones for this purpose on the website. But yes, Sam.
Yeah, I was on the topic of tabling. I think I was thinking perhaps there's something I can do, and perhaps maybe some of us, could do is get ourselves set up with a like a tabling event to kind of discuss CF&D and handouts and stuff like that. That's what I was thinking in my head of what I could do and what maybe some of us would be interested in doing.
Great. So last year, Stanley Wang, who is a student, he was at William and Mary, with Emily helping do it there. Last year he was with AmeriCorps in Boston, and he and I got together. He noticed that there was going to be an Earth Day event at Boston College, my alma mater, and we set up a table and had some really great discussions. I think I could have a whole hour-long meeting to talk about what I learned in doing that, because I like to reverse table. You don't even have to set up your own table. You just go to an event with tables with your own small collection of supplies, and you go to a table and you listen to their spiel and you make them feel good about sharing their stuff, and then you ask them, hey, are you interested in something? And they're polite and they will, and so you can give them your tabling stuff without having to set up a table. But at BC, I did have we had a table set up with a giant aluminum poster that has the most effective climate policy words on it, and that got some attention. But I went to other tables, and one of them, there were climate groups that had tables, students that were trying to get their school to pull out of fossil fuels, divest, and they weren't having any luck. They said, we met with the people, they said they have a fiduciary responsibility to the school. They can't just, not invest in things because it's the right thing to do. So I said, okay, you need to learn a little bit about the market failure that's happening, and how the school should, if it's just going to use market conditions to make its investments, then it should be working to change the policies that direct those conditions of the market. So the economist state was new to them, but the light went on. They were like, oh, okay, so we could get our head of school to endorse this policy. Maybe we can talk to the finance people about proxy carbon pricing that a lot of companies are doing. They should start anticipating a future federal carbon price in their investments today, so that they don't get caught with a lot of fossil fuel investments when the carbon bubble bursts. So that the finance committee can say, we're not investing in fossil fuels because we anticipate a federal carbon price. When that happens, these fossil fuel investments are going to be poor paybacks. And so, you can give people a risk management reason not to invest in fossil fuels. So anyway, I went down, there was a sustainability professor at a table, and so she and I talked about maybe going in and doing an En-ROADS presentation in her class, or with one of the clubs that she was directing. So school tabling opportunities, there's a lot of them. That's a really good thing. Yes, Catherine.
Oh, sorry. Back to the question about presenting En-ROADS without doing the extensive training. We usually just explain what it is. Like, this is the projected temperature, and then these are different sliders we can slide to do different policies and see how it affects the temperature, and then like let people call on people say to do whichever policies they want to, like let them try out which policies they want to try, and then sometimes they'll pick a carbon price and everyone will be like, oh wow. And sometimes if they don't get to carbon price, then you can just show them.
That makes sense. So you're just showing them the front page, basically. You're not going in deep, and yeah. I mean, and then if they, you know, want to get geeky about it and learn more, they can.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thanks for, I will share in the chat the 4-minute En-ROADS
Thank you.
demo from my class. Okay, so we have 9 minutes. Okay, so I guess would you like time now to find a school or contact to send an email to and get started on that? Or would you like to talk about ideas and different things that you might do and then do that after this meeting? Would you prefer work time or brainstorming time?
I mean, I wrote down and because I have a document that kind of lists out what my plans are for, you know, future days and weeks and stuff like that. So I've just wrote down that I should contact someone to start another tabling event, but this time instead of, you know, elections, it's about, you know, CFD.
Awesome.
Oh, sorry, this is just a side note, but my dad has, or like late like a next meeting of this action team, he has a like a sample presentation you can give, like if you do reach out to a club and they want to have you for a presentation. Like I think, like I'm sure you guys would be able to do it anyway, but if you want a sample presentation, we'll have one. And then also once students go to the CFD movement website and hit join, that like sends a notification to me and Ellie, and then me and Ellie will like meet with them and onboard them and take it from there. So if, yeah, I guess the goal is getting them to hit the join button, and then we'll take care of it.
So are you and Ellie the co-chairs now of the CFD movement thing? Is Emily okay? And Emily's moved on, or
Yeah, she moved on to, she was involved in the election and now she's, wait, I don't know, maybe Dad, you know, but I think she's working on like democracy.
okay. Well, that's good too.
Emily decided to go work with the Democrat Party to try to get people that are going to do something about climate elected, and she thinks the politics is more important to her now than
Okay.
climate.
Yeah, we all go through stages, so that's
Exactly.
great.
It's constantly evolving. We're sticking with a bipartisan approach where in the future I'll present a talk climate with candidates article and ideas about how we can in a non-confrontational positive way meet with candidates from both parties, give them a carbon fee and dividend talk, and show them the economist statement, talk about the pros and cons of coming out in favor of it with each different party has different pros and cons. But if you care about this problem, there's great information for conservatives to get behind this. And so, you know, we need political courage, and I believe that there still is that out there. And hopefully, after 2 years of what we're just about to start this week, people will be ready for a change and looking for solutions. And I think this is the time to lay the foundation and be ready to get information out there when people are looking for answers. We have the answer, and I think we can spread it through schools pretty effectively.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, if you look at the extreme weather events and the fires and all of that, I can't, you know, in 2 years, who knows what's coming. Catherine, I was going to ask you too, you said that's awesome, you'd love to talk with them. Are you thinking of the students that I mentioned, or
Oh,
said
yeah, that was the
chat.
student you said was gonna be going to Bowdoin who went to
Oh,
Bowdoin.
yeah, okay. Well, if I can figure out who it was, I will send them your way.
Oh, awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
I have two more things, quick. The first is a picture. So does anybody mind if I take a picture for our social media and inside CCL advertising? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Terrific. All right, thank you. The next is schools. So I promised Catherine I would update this map. I haven't done it yet, but let me share my screen one more time. So yeah, the website, the homepage is just CFD Movement, obviously, but cfdmovement.org. And it talks about what is carbon fee and dividend. It shows examples of students doing it. And then it shows how adults can get involved and or how students can get involved at a school, and how adults that are interested in the CFD movement and other solutions can join CCL. And then hopefully those adults will join this action team. In the about, there's a list of schools. So some of these have gone dormant this year. Catherine, how many schools do you have, do you think, engaged now?
I'll count 1 second.
Okay. So there were, I think, 18 actively engaged at one point. So one thing, a challenge that we have is keeping the schools active between school years. And so there's Boston College. That's from Stanley and I just tabling at Earth Day to get it on the map. But and so there has to be a succession plan. If a senior is graduating, hopefully they will have inspired some but underclassmen to get interested and take it on. So we're still figuring out how to do that. It worked in some schools and didn't in others. But these are all very easily solvable problems if we're focused on communicating to the students that are actively engaged. And then my view is each school can do the same thing each semester or each year. Plaster posters all around, hand out stickers, do a couple events, the chalk art, a pizza party with a big sign, events where people are just putting the paper on their back of their laptops. And then there's higher levels of engagement that CCL can help with. Go talk to local state reps about this and look for endorsements, or set up Catherine's CFD movement group lobbies Congress, because they've got that training from CCL and they can go and lobby all focused on carbon fee and dividend, carbon pricing around the world things, which so there's a lot more having CCL behind the CFD movement, and highly aligned in what we're doing and CCL is doing. Okay, Leslie, question, and then I guess we'll have used our hour.
Oh, they're not. We're still sort of trying to figure out what they were. It used to just be we listed every school that had like signed up, even if they hadn't actually done anything or like was active like a year ago, but isn't anymore. But we want it to be like if the school says active, we want it to be like if you're at that school and you want to join, there's like actually something you could join, not just like something that has happened in the past.
Yeah. So the Slack, Emily was setting up a Slack channel for each school so that the students in that school could communicate with each other over a Slack channel. Different schools might want to do it differently, but there needs to be a leader too at each school that is connected through the Slack, the channels that are for everybody, so that all the schools can kind of get the information from the leaders of the movement. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Any final thoughts that you guys have before we wrap it up?
So these schools, are they are they like chapters in CCL, or are they separate, or how does that work?
Yeah, completely separate.
Okay.
They can be CCL chapters that are doing the project, but it's not a requirement. This is why it's a two-way feeder system, that you can have a CFD movement going at a school that does or doesn't have anything to do with CCL. They're encouraged to go to CCL for training. And the idea is that we've got a simple project that they can do. And if that's all they want to do, that's fine. If they want to do any more than the basics, then go, join CCL, go to some of these trainings that CCL offers, and bring back what you know, and help your school, advance beyond kind of the basics.
Yeah, it's
So
kind
we're
of a
not,
mix of CCL clubs that are doing the movement, like other environmental clubs, and then we have a handful of students not affiliated with a club.
yeah, we're not trying to compete. We're trying to be like an amplifier of what CCL is doing, and get into places that are hard for CCL to get into. This is a very lightweight thing for students to do, and it's really powerful. So, it's it's easier to imagine putting up posters and fun to share stickers with people. And then once they start realizing this is half the solution, and this economists say this is like the gold standard climate policy, it kind of sucks you in, as kind of all of us probably know. You
Well,
start thinking, what more can I do? And that's CCL.
and I think the beauty of this too is that whether a school remains active or not, I mean, I guess obviously you want them to keep up the, handing out the stickers and putting it on laptops. But once a student has heard about carbon fee and dividend and that it's the most effective policy, they're not going to forget that. And they're going to take that wherever. So it's all, planting
Yeah.
seeds and
Exactly. That's why I like high schools, right? Because they're going to go to college, a lot of them.
yeah.
And we're trying to get into colleges. So if you did this as a high school thing, bring it to your college. You'll be a campus star. Like, wow, how did he know this stuff? And
Yeah.
and you can make friends that are interested in this thing that you're interested in. And so it's a pretty, it's got a lot of the CCL magic in this thing, but it's much lighter upfront cost to get started and to be successful.
I'm going to go order some stickers, John.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to meet monthly, so please stay tuned for the next event announcement. I'll try to get the send to all button working before next time. And yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate all your enthusiasm for Carbon Fee and Dividend, and for helping students, and taking your time tonight. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.